Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Stefan Spijkers. I'm co-founder of PIM Vendors, and you are watching our PIM Vendors Roundtable and Lightning demos. We'll start with the latter, so a series of demos by the three partners that we have found for today, all showing you what you can do with AI in the realm of product data. I'll give the floor to Tim from miros.ai first, but before that, let me quickly introduce PIM Vendors and how you can interact during the session as well. So start with the housekeeping. This session will have 3 times 20 minutes of demos. You're free to ask questions or give comments, but it's a bit of a broadcasting part of this session. After those 3 times 20-minute demos, we'll have a roundtable where all the presenters will join me for a quick roundtable discussion on the whole realm of product data and AI, how it is developing, but also your questions. So if you have any questions during the demos, feel free to ask them or write them down for during the roundtable sessions, and we'll be sure to revisit them later on. Secondly, we have special promotional offers for every one of you, where each of the partners that attends this meeting and is demoing has a special offer for you as attendee to this event. If you want to claim that offer, you can connect with the company directly, or just send me a quick message on either LinkedIn or through email. You all have my email address, I think, and you can reach me there, and I'll connect you to the right partner. So back to who we are at PIM Vendors. We're an independent source for PIM information and PIM selection. We basically help you connect to the right product information management system independently. So by filling in a quick survey, we create a PIM profile of your PIM requirements and then connect you to one of the vendors in our database, which contains more than 40 systems already. And that is of 250 PIM systems that we know of that are active. So there's a lot to choose from. I won't bore you with any further details. We'll head on right over to our first speaker, Tim Kolberg, CTO of miros.ai. Tim, I'm going to give you the floor, and it's all yours. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right. So I hope you guys can see my screen. Yes, I can see the screen myself. So thank you all for joining today to our presentation about your product data. But let me first start with a little bit of introduction about myself. So at Miros, we believe that one picture says more than 1,000 words. So I'm going to introduce myself in just 7 emojis. So my name is Tim Kolberg. I'm the CTO at Miros. We're a startup based in Estonia. What you might not know about Estonia, Estonia is the land of the unicorns. We have the most unicorn companies per capita. Our team, on the other hand, is operating worldwide. So we're a remote-first company. And if you're wondering, wait a second, this accent actually sounds German. It is, because I'm German, not Estonian. So let's jump right into our presentation titled Forget Your Product Data. And let me start with telling you a little bit about what Miros does in just 30 seconds. So Miros is a search and discovery platform for visual products. And currently we're specialized in the e-commerce industry. How we operate is that we utilize embeddings from image data as well as relevant metadata from products. But I will get to that in a second. So what we allow our customers is to find the products that they really desire, that they're really looking for. And to showcase this a little bit in more detail to you, I would ask you all to play a little game with me. So if you think about a very specific product, and I will tell you which product to think about, I want you to think about the lamp from the Pixar movies that's jumping around and crushing the letters from the Pixar movies. You probably all right now have an image in your mind on how this product looks like. And it will probably look like this, very obviously, right? That's the lamp from the Pixar movies, more or less. Let me give you another example. I want you to think about a dress for yourself, for your wife, for your daughter, for whoever, for a wedding. And this wedding is happening by the beach, let's say on the Seychelles. And I'm pretty sure you all have a picture in your mind right now. The problem is that this picture is probably different, very different for each and every one of you. And these pictures were actually all taken from Google search results. So someone on the other side thought that those are all dresses for a wedding by the beach on the Seychelles. And it's always a matter of perspective, how we see things, how we evaluate things, or especially how we describe things. And this is exactly the problem that we're tackling at Miros. And for that, I would like to get into our technology. So how do we actually do it? How do we allow our users to find the product that they're really looking for? And let's first start with the problems that come with that. A lot of people try to solve this problem by using metadata in terms of text. Metadata as text is very, very useful for products which are very specific that you can describe them right away. One example would be the lamp from the Pixar movies, or an iPhone Pro Max 128 gigabytes. People will talk about the exact same product. If you're talking about highly visual products, and this goes into the direction of clothing, accessories, houseware, it really depends on the perspective of who is looking at this product. So if you're trying to match two people on the same product, they have to speak the same language. Another approach which we came across quite often is solving this problem of not being able to describe what you're looking for by using keywords. The problem with keywords is essentially that how do you rank keywords against each other? Because there's almost an unlimited amount of keywords that you can use to describe a product. As said, it matters on the perspective of the one who's looking at it. To give you an example, what does a user actually mean when he looks for a sand dress? Is he referring to the color of the dress? Is he referring to the location? Let's say dress for a sandy environment like Burning Man, which just happened. Another problem is that are huge amounts of data actually useful and bringing more quality? Because, as mentioned earlier, you have to rank these keywords against each other. Another problem that comes with that, which will always be the problem, is what if you're missing an important keyword? One of the prime examples that we stumbled across quite recently was a trend in the fashion sector of teddy jackets. A teddy jacket is essentially a very fluffy jacket with the same material that a teddy bear is made out of. Makes sense to call it a teddy jacket, right? But nobody in the e-commerce sector called it a teddy jacket. It was named differently, so differently that I forgot the name already. But the term teddy jacket came from some influencer. People were looking for it and people were unable to find it. So how do we actually solve this problem at Miros? We believe in two things. It's vectors coming from images as well as invisible data. So what we mainly consume from our customers are images, which we then run through a set of AI models generating over 10,000 dimensions and then working with these dimensions in a semantic approach. We also utilize what we call invisible data. Invisible data is data that is not visible in the image. And this could be, for example, the brand of a product, the function of a product, or the season of a product. To give you another example, probably every brand has a black t-shirt, right? Maybe even without a logo on it. A function could be Are these boots winter boots or hiking boots? So this function of this particular product is very, very important, but almost invisible by just looking at the image. And that's why we're also utilizing this invisible data. But all the technology and approaches aside, let me quickly give you a demo. So, as I said, we're working in the e-commerce sector, and our three founders have a background in fashion. So naturally, we started with applying our technology to fashion products. This is a very popular e-commerce site at Zalando, and Zalando is selling dresses. To give you an example, I'm looking for a dress for a wedding by the beach. Let's stick with this example. So what I did so far is go to clothing, dresses, and here I am. So I usually start by going over the product listing page, slowly scrolling and hoping to find something. And I think this product right here in the center of the screen, this could suit my wife for this wedding by the beach. It looks summery, it's flowery, it's not too warm, looks really good, but red is not really her color. So not really a good fit. So what I personally usually do is scroll down here and hope. I really hope that the recommendations given by this e-commerce site are any good. In my taste, it's missing the flowers. It's missing, yeah, I mean, they're topless, but it's not really what I'm looking for. So I go back and I hope that maybe those filters help me. So let's go with color. But I don't really want to decide on a color. I'm multicolored. Beautiful. So, and even if I filtered down the results, I'm still facing 1,000 products and probably cannot make a decision because it feels like a random selection of products. So let's try something that I would definitely do on an e-commerce site. It's using their search. So I'm searching for wedding by the beach dress, right? Which doesn't really give good results, to be honest, at least in my opinion. Because I heard that you shouldn't wear white at a wedding, at least when you're not the bride. So let's skip those. And the rest is a little bit too flashy. Maybe this one. But this is not a session about bashing e-commerce sites, right? This is a session about how can we actually improve data and how can we utilize image data to actually make things better. So what we do at Miros is, for the sake of demoing our product to our customers, is we usually take our customers' data, put it into our infrastructure, and then create a demo out of it. So what you can see here is a presentation of a very basic e-commerce site. So we have a product listing page showing you, in this case, random products. And as soon as you click on a product, you see a product detail page. What you might have noticed already is these buttons mentioning discover similar styles. As soon as I click this button, our experience opens and allows the user to really efficiently find the product that they're actually looking for. And I didn't pick this product by accident. I picked it because, yeah, this looks like a summery dress that someone could wear for a wedding. But to be honest, it's not really elegant. For my taste, it's a little bit too short to wear at a wedding. As mentioned, my taste is not your taste, right? So maybe I want to go with something more like this. Whenever I'm interacting with this solution, the AI in the background constantly analyzes my behavior, makes recommendations, and makes assumptions on what I'm actually looking for. So taking this, I was actually looking earlier for something flowery, long, no shoulders. As said, it's in the summer by the beach. And looking at this selection, it's actually getting better and it's actually going in the direction that I'm looking for. Maybe we want something with a little bit more darker colors. Or maybe we want to go in an even more colorful way towards red. And I'm pretty sure I will find something for my wife here. But we don't stop there. We're actually able to match text data with image data in a very unconventional way. Going back to Zalando, and just to refresh your memory, we're looking for wedding by the beach dress. And this is the result. Arguably good or bad. So taking the exact same search query and feeding it into Miros, we can see that the results are also white, which actually surprises me. But as soon as the user scrolls down, the AI is automatically adapting and giving out other results, which it thinks are relevant. For example, this, which I was looking for earlier, a little bit flowery, colorful, etc. Of course, it doesn't stop there. We can also go for vacation. So I might not be looking for a wedding dress or a dress to wear at a wedding. Maybe I'm looking for a Hawaiian dress, also very colorful, flowers, etc. What you can observe right away on Zalando is this doesn't really look like Hawaiian, at least not in my opinion. And what you might have observed is that metadata is getting in the way because someone named this Hawaiian. So going over to Miros, using the same search term, this looks a lot better. This looks like an Hawaiian pattern for a dress. And if I have this already as a starting point, I can make my decision as a user to go like, I actually feel like, let's say, more in the red color scheme going in here. And I can already see that the AI is adapting to my needs and my wishes. All right, going back to the presentation. Impact. Of course, products like these need to be measured, and we need to create an impact for our customers and the users of our customers. At Miros, we think it's all about speed. People need to find products quickly, otherwise they will churn, obviously. Taking myself as an example, I actually stopped looking for clothing online because it took way too long. I got frustrated. And I was one of the millions and millions of users who just dropped out, probably after minutes. So Miros allows you to find products in under 60 seconds in an almost unlimited data set. What that means is that we have customers having around 300,000 products, up to bigger customers running 4 million products. And the results are the same for all of them. But what's the actual impact of Miros on e-commerce sites? On average, we increase our customers' revenue by 9.8% for people that are using Miros. We're also increasing the conversion rate by 2.3%. And what's really fascinating to see is that we increase retention and loyalty by 90% for customers who used Miros on our customers' e-commerce sites. So people love it so much and are so efficient in finding the products that they really love that they come back almost immediately. Which actually leads you to the end of our presentation. And with that, first of all, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for staying. But we're not done yet. Because as Stefan mentioned earlier, we have a little gift for you. So if you're interested in using Miros for your own e-commerce site, for your product, for product discovery, or you might think of other use cases for this technology, simply send us an email to gift@miros.ai giving us a URL to your product category. And of course, we would ask you to add the keywords PIM and AI, so we know where the request is coming from. And within 5 business days, we will actually send you a custom demo like the one that I just showed you for the category of Zalando dresses. As unfortunately, we haven't met during a conference or in person, and I feel like I'm just talking to my notebook. So I'm not able to hand you either a business card or show you my phone with my LinkedIn QR code. You have a chance now to add me on LinkedIn, talk about AI, talk about our technology, or in case you have any more detailed questions on how to integrate our solution, please feel free to contact me. And that's all from my side. So looking forward to the next speaker. And Stefan, you probably want to take over and say a thing or two.
Yes, for sure. Well, first of all, thanks, Tim. And there is someone you're talking to, at least that's me. So I'm the man in the machine. Hopefully we have some more. We'll have some more room for interaction during the roundtable session. It'll be more interactive. But thanks for the demo. Thanks for showing us the tooling, showing it how fast and easy it is. And I shared your LinkedIn profile in the chat, so people can already take a quick look and bombard you with connection requests. I'm going to switch over now, and we'll see you back during the roundtable.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, and then we'll move on to our next speaker of today, which is Max. Max from CTD PIM. You have the floor basically to do your demo. So good luck.
Thank you, Stefan, and Tim, of course, for the first presentation. So welcome. Today we're going to present you what is possible with enriching product data via AI in a live demo. And the whole goal and purpose of this meeting is to give you some insights of what can be achieved with some basic AI to enrich that data. So let me first introduce myself and also our company, Connecting the Dots. So my name is Max, and I'm one of the founders of Connecting the Dots. And CTD, as we call it, or Connecting the Dots, is specialized in providing software solution for product management, named in the industry as PIM systems. We have 2 products on offer. It's CTD PIM. CTD PIM is aimed at clients that want to manage their product content in such a way that they can manage all commercial aspects of that product data, such as product descriptions, product attributes, images, USPs, etc. CTD PIM, the other product offering, goes beyond that. Because besides managing from commercial product content, the CTD PIM Enterprise solution offers also a broad selection of product master data management features, which allows our customer to do so much more than just managing commercial product data. Now, very important also to state that in each and every day, we have multiple teams supporting our clients to get the most out of their CTD PIM or CTD PIM install. And we do that from the Netherlands, actually from Zwolle. That's our home base. Also, probably interesting to realize, we always say that we don't look so much at verticals, but we look at the dynamics of how clients are using the PIM system. And it means that we recognize 3 types of clients. We have clients who are in manufacturing. Secondly, we service clients who are in wholesale. And third, we have clients that are retailers. And what I'm saying, that we're looking at those, not so much that verticals, that's because of this. At CTD PIM and also at CTD PIM Enterprise, we work with a flexible data model and flexible column records, which basically means that it doesn't matter so much to us whether a client is in fashion or in food or in automotive. For example, if they're a wholesaler, for example, it's or a retailer, it's the dynamics that count. The dynamics are the same whether a client is in fashion or in automotive. If they're a wholesaler, their dynamics are equal. If, for example, we have a retail client who is in fashion or a retail client who is in food, again, the vertical is different, but the dynamics are equal. Now, let's move to today's agenda because this is basically what it's about. So, what we're going to show you today in the live demo, we're going to use CTD PIM for that, in combination with ChatGPT. We're aiming to show you the essentials of what can be done with product enrichment via AI. And we're not only looking at product enrichment via AI, we're also going to look at product translations, which can be handled via AI as well. We also will go one step further, where we also show you what can be done, for example, creating product descriptions for different target audience, also driven by AI. So now let's move to the actual live demo, and I'm going to switch my screen. Welcome to CTD PIM. What we're looking here is a product canvas. And in the product canvas, you can basically collect any collection of products that you would like. You can browse them as well. You can navigate selections by navigating product structures. Also diving a bit deeper. But you can also, for example, perform searches. And they work in combination with product searches, but you can also use search on its own. I'm going to provide, for example, an example. Say we're going to look, search for sneakers, and then it presents you with all sneakers. Again, you can browse, and maybe looking at the canvas again. It's a dynamic canvas, so for example, you can alter around with making columns smaller or even larger. You can introduce new columns to your grid. Of course, you can also save your column sets. So this actual set can be saved and then used again, or it can be shared with your team for usage. Also, interestingly, you can always start sorting, filtering your selections, and maybe let me, for example, perform searches. Say what I was showing. You can do product groups, but you can also, for example, do brands, whole product sets of article numbers, etc. So maybe let's search for a brands. Yes, we also have some Apple products. There's also some extra features. For example, stuff like running a completeness report. And this now generates a report showing completeness of this selection of products. Last but not least, before we go to the AI enrichment, there's also other interesting stuff. For example, looking here at this blue menu, you can also collect different collection of products in different tabs. And those tabs can be combined with different product statuses. And combining those tabs and product statuses, you can also create your product flow. We call this in the PIM the product information flow. So now let's move to the actual product data enrichment via AI. Let me first select products. Well, let me choose, let's try this one. And what we see here is the product page. And on this product page, literally every information captured about a product is displayed here. And as a PIM user, I can also, of course, also edit that product data. You see the types of product data captured can be images, can be data fields. Scrolling down, it can also be, for example, product descriptions, USPs, product attributes. And we also see that each and every field is then accompanied with also this little button here to the right of the field description. Now, this button is in connection with our PIM AI assistant, which can be found here to the right. And actually, this assistant is now, in this example, connected to ChatGTP. So, for example, I could say, hey, let's create a short description for this product by using AI, and then asking ChatGTP to come up with a description. And you see it comes up with a description, comes actually up with two descriptions, one in English and one in Dutch. And that's because this product is then managed in PIM in a multilingual way, because I have the English data set on the product, but also for the same time the Dutch description on the product. So here in the assistant, I can now say, hey, let's apply this short description to the product. And of course, I can also do the same here for the Dutch language set. And of course, in case you would have more languages, for example, German or French, yeah, you could basically do the same. These are the fundamentals, because what we did here, yeah, it's no different in populating, some other field description, a USP, maybe a product attribute. It basically works in the same way. And of course, I'm now doing it in a manual modus, but was this in a production environment? Yeah, this would be a background process where all product data to be enriched, will work basically at scale using a background process. And then, of course, you can also alter it around then product by product in a manual modus, which I'm showing now. But of course, when doing this at scale, it's wise to do this in a background process. Now, let me clear the conversation for a second. There's also more to be done. For example, I could also ask AI, hey, do you have any suggestions for this product? So let's see what comes up. And looking, for example, at the first suggestion, we now, for example, say, hey, there's an attribute color, and the description says silber, which is actually German for the verb silver. So let's see if AI is actually right. And yeah, I see here that the color here indeed says silver. And yes, AI is right. This should be silver in English. So I can change this around. I can say apply. And of course, then it will apply. If I do it here, now see it's silver. So again, two simple methods to enrich your product data via AI. So let me now switch for a moment between ChatGPT 3.5, and let's see. We go to the assistant settings, and I also have a connection with ChatGPT 4. So let me select ChatGPT 4 now, and let's do some other enrichments as well to see if there's any difference. And of course, you also see here that you can work with tone of voice and multiple other options which are selectable, to tune the feedback that you get from AI when working on your product descriptions. So let's move back. Say first. And let's move back to our actual product set. Maybe let's find another set of products. Maybe search for a home and living products. Roman blinds, are there more? Yeah. So here, for example, we're looking at some Roman blinds. Well, let's select one. Doesn't matter so much. For example, let's select this product here. Well, basically the same applies here. I'm now moving to the actual product detail page of this specific product. I see the assistant is already there at my surface. And yeah, let's start first. Maybe you see that the basic product information is all empty here. Let's see what the connection with ChatGPT-4 can do for a product enrichment. If we ask the assistant to come up with a product description, and this time the long description for this Roman blind. Now you see it already starts working. And it's a fun thing to realize that if you see we first had the 3.5 turbo connected, and it actually is a bit quicker than 4 for the people who are really paying attention. And again, yeah, I can apply that specific description. And now it basically says from, hey, this beautiful Roman blind from IKEA. I probably guess that this brand somewhere is in here. Yeah, I see that the brand is IKEA, but then the description is also generated by using AI. But I can do more, and this is, I think, interesting for everybody, especially when you're also in e-commerce, because you can also let AI create specific product descriptions for specific target audiences. And here in this example, we have like an empty description for a target group, which is the male audience. And here to our right, we have another field. And then we have their description and aimed at a female target audience. So let's see what happens if I now ask ChatGPT-4 via AI assistant to come up with a description. And again, it's because I asked in the settings to come up with a description for both languages, so English and Dutch. It's working on those both language sets, and yes, it's ready. So let's apply the English one first, and you see now that it actually comes up with a description for this specific target audience. So let's see what happens if I now ask assistants again to now come up with a description for our female target audience. And let's see if there's a difference. Now, waiting for a moment for the Dutch translation to be created or generated. And let's apply this as well. And, let's look at both, description in comparison. You see that for the male audience, it says, yeah, this handsome set of Roman blinds from IKEA is crafted with the top quality linen material. And it goes on and on. And for the female description, it's more like the exquisite set of Roman blinds from IKEA is made with premium linen material. And you see that the basics used are the same, but the tone of voice is definitely different. And then really aimed at those specific target audiences. So it's again, a fun and good thing to start enriching your product data, aimed at specific target audiences, and especially then to try to drive your business for specific audiences even further in order to enhance your sales. Maybe last but not least, since this is AI, it's always good to have some sort of control to see what AI is generating. For example, if I would go to maybe a dress or so, And if I would now ask AI to come up here with, for example, a description for male, already did it here, then yeah, you really have to take in consideration what it's doing. What I asked the assistant here previously is, hey, can you create in the description aimed at the male target audience a description for men who want this dress as a gift for their wife or maybe to their daughter, to attract their audience. And you see, especially it says also something like that in the description. If I, for example, clear this, in the last, and I would just simply run this, then I would get a description which might not be matching. So to finish it off, it's basically better. You can also say from, hey, why not ask the assistant indeed to come up with then a special request. Indeed, can you create a description for men who want to give this as a present to their wives. And of course, you get a fitting description. So to round it off, what we basically showed you today is the essentials, or call it the basics, what can be achieved with enriching product data by using AI in your PIM system. We looked at basic enrichment. We looked at translating product data via AI, and also creating product data for specific target audiences. Everything, all these three, things, are quite easily done and, are well and good reach. I think for you, especially when working with e-commerce or digital channels. That's basically it for today in this session. I hope at least you have some insight of what can be done with basically AI in combination to PIM and product enrichment. So basically back to you, Stefan.
All right. Thanks, Max. Thanks for the demo. Thanks for sharing how you can chat with PIM and basically let it create product attributes and product descriptions for you. I'll see you back during the roundtable, so stick around and see you in a minute. Which brings us to the last demo of today from Isaac. Isaac, the floor is yours, basically, so take it away.
Thank you, Stefan. Let me just share my screen with you. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is really the pioneering the future and AI's role in revolutionizing product and service data management. And we believe this is the final frontier. I think different to the previous presenters, we specialize really in enhancing the raw data side to enhance content management systems, ERPs, enterprise asset management, MDM systems, and PIMs, and specifically focused at the industrial environment So the product data that we work and the service data that we work is in manufacturing, mining, and then your utilities as well. And it's mostly focused also at from a procurement perspective, where I think our previous two presenters focus very much on the e-commerce side. We focus more on actually the data inside the organization itself. We are not a spend analytics company. We purely just look at the product data and the service data. And ICO was really, our slogan is complexity simplified. And you will see from our presentation, it looks very simple, but in essence, AI and machine learning does all the hard work for you. So maybe just a little bit of technology talk. So we've got supervised learning, and we taught our large language models on specific data. So we do not use a chat GPT to enrich our data or to do data cleansing. And the reason being, for the time being, a lot of our customers do not want their data to be exposed to chat GPT or any external force. So all our data all runs on our servers for the customer itself. So, okay, where do we fit in? If you look at an MDM, we only focus at product and service information data, not at customer data, not at supply data, staff, financial, manufacturing. So we're enhancing really your product data. We try to find, where do we fit in on the data side? We're not a MDM. We don't compete with any of those organizations that offer those services. So I believe this is a new category. Lots of organizations do struggle to use this type of technology. It takes a lot of time and knowledge of the industry before you can build it. I think we've achieved that quite nicely. So what I'm going to do, and my presentation on the live demo is only really going to look at product data cleansing. The reason being there's, I think, not sufficient time to go through also the full enrichment side. So what we do, first of all, we look at anomalies. And anomalies, we use Six Sigma to find the anomalies in the data. And that is normally on typing errors in the data. I'll show you what that looks like. Spelling, we are expanding now into a wider grammar and language detection side, which will come out in December. And then duplication. In the supply chain environment, a lot of challenges experienced by mines and industrial customers is that they've got duplicate items in various locations in MRO warehouses, MRO, maintenance, repair and operations, across their facilities. And to find that is very, very difficult. Unless your product is enriched on an attribute level, then it's difficult to find the duplicates. We do find it. And then missing data. One of our customers have over 200,000 items in their data set. And if you've got to go and clean or find missing data in Excel, it's going to take you a long time, whereas our system immediately brings that up. Okay, so the next section is product data enrichment. So in this case, a customer asked us, or the only description that they gave us with the data was bearing hashtag 3312. Out of that, we created the attributes using machine learning and AI to enrich the data. The pyramid that you see is a UNSPSC classification. So we created the UNSPSC classification. We can create other, or our system allows that you can bolt on any classification system required, and then created the long and the short description. Now you can see this is very specific. We further moved on now where we can drill down on the information and segmented raw materials, industrial equipment, components and supply, end-use products, and services. And services is quite an interesting thing that started coming up where a lot of our customers find it extremely difficult to measure, let's say, for instance, you've got utilities, a mobile phone company, erecting a mobile in Amsterdam in comparison to Paris. Why is there a difference? They can't go into the detailed data. What we are able to do is to go and, because your services are divided into labor, materials, and equipment. So we take the labor, we classify the labor. The materials, as you see on the left-hand side, because it is mostly MRO items, we can enrich it. And then the equipment and the tools used in the service itself then also gets classified and enriched pretty much the same as what you see, what we've done with the bearing information. And then we go and do comparisons. And comparisons are done on an attribute level. A lot of companies that you see, they will compare products on just a description, but the description and the price is not necessarily enough information to do a comparison. You need to go on attribute level. And now I'm just going to go and give me a sec, go into a live, into our system. Let me just see if that's okay. So first of all, I think, let me just check this is live. Yeah. Let me just log in again. I've been logged out a bit too long. Okay. So I think the first thing that you see, the dashboard is very simple. We try to take all the clutter out of the dashboard. And in this cleaning exercise, what we would like to do is to show you where your challenges lie, especially if you work with large data sets. Now, in this case, we're only working with 2,900 items. It's 56 columns and 166,000 cells that's in there. If you look at time saved, because it's quite important for our customers, normally, and here we've been very conservative, and we said a cataloger can normally do 1,000 items a day. If your data is very dirty, doing more than 30 items, cleansing 30 items is about what you can do in a day. We're taking the 1,000 items a day. We further go down and we break down where does your errors lie in your data itself. So it's very easy to find where your challenges are in the data itself. So let's just go to spelling. And we're live on the system now. Quite interesting. It looks very simple, but the back end is very, very complex. Now, again, some of these items are very specific. This is a brand name, so obviously it's not going to pick it up, so you can ignore it. You can put in the correct spelling. There's also functionality where you can do all in uppercase, all lowercase, camel case. It gives you an idea on the spelling itself. If we look at duplicates, now this is where the interesting side comes in, and where we also found on a lot of our customers where there was inconsistency in the data. It works through the whole data set, so okay. So Allen key long, there's 3 items that have Allen key long as the main description. But here you can see they're actually not duplicates. It's different attributes. The one is 13 millimeters, 17 millimeters, 19 millimeters. And I think that's quite important to know, and understand in a simple way how your data is formatted. Just gives you another example. What we also find here, especially if it's in multiple locations, and if the data is loaded, maybe I must just go back. So these are all the columns that were loaded. So this is all the columns of data that was loaded into the data set. But if the same item is in different locations, you can pick it up, and it's much easier to then go and reduce those items from a duplicate perspective. Anomaly detection I talked about. And anomalies, as I said, we make use of Six Sigma. In the case of, and here we look at the different columns, there's reorder point, maximum inventory, the item itself, the value that is in the data itself, but this is the mean, okay? And again, it might be data that was incorrectly captured in the data set itself, but this shows you how easy it is to identify where your challenges lie in the data set itself. I'm going to show you a little bit of enrichment, and that is classification. I believe we've got the fastest UNSPSC classification really in the industry itself. And immediately it gives you a tree map on where your items, so there's 292 items under industrial manufacturing process machinery. When I drill down, it takes it to the different levels. And I can say, do you know what? I want to export this. There, you've got it. Or I say, no, I want to export this to Excel. Okay. So again, you can see the process is really fast and efficient. And again, we focus on simplicity. I'm just going to give you a bit of an idea on comparisons if you try to compare files. So what this is matching. I don't know what to do matching. I don't want to do a comparison. Let me rather. That's not switched on at the moment. Okay. Looking at the data itself, the different columns that you have, this is pretty much the same as what you would find in your Excel, but the difference is that you can sort items, ascending, descending, filter, hide, show columns. And again, what we've said, yeah, you can get a better idea. Importing side, I didn't show you. It's a very easy process. Normally a .csv file that we import, and you can export the data in .csv, or we can build an API integration for you, and leaving feedback on what additional services you want built into the product itself. So we try to simplify the process as much as possible, that anybody can use it. And now just back to, going to stop sharing. So just back to our promotion that we have. So we've got a promotion for 2 companies. You can run it via PIM vendors, where we will do product data cleansing, enrichment, and classification to UNSPSC of 1,000 items. The value for 2 companies, so it's 2,000 items. And the value of that normally in the market would be around about $5,000. And then you can decide whether you want to use the system. We also have a very rapid process. Anything under 10,000 items for us is not a project, because we do it so quickly. Our specialization lies in MRO data, maintenance, repair, and operations for industrial companies. So I think in short, That is my presentation. I think time-wise, I'm still within the limits. Yeah, there we go. So thank you very much.
Yeah. No, for sure. Thanks so much, Isaac. I appreciate the live demo, not only by you but by everyone today. But it was great to see, well, to take a quick look inside the kitchen of every tooling. What we'll do now is I'll bring everyone back. So we'll have a roundtable discussion on artificial intelligence. So let me bring back Max, and I'm afraid Tim has some connection issues. I'll bring him back. Oh, here we are. I thought we lost him, but you're here still. Good. I'm bringing you all back for the roundtable. So I think we have some questions in the chat, maybe for all the viewers that are still with us. If you have any questions on product data processes, how to apply artificial intelligence, we have questions, like technical questions like tone or even temperature questions, setting up multiple chains of prompts, creating your own custom LLMs like Eike has done for the technical world. Jot them all into the chat, and we'll either weave them into the conversation that we're having right now, or we'll take it offline and connect with you afterwards on answering that question. Heading on to the roundtable part, I would like to discuss with you the sort of evolution of artificial intelligence, right? So it feels like yesterday that machine learning was, well, maybe something to do with gaming, both Go, which was already pretty advanced, or basically chess games. The only thing that you had, the only interaction that you had with chatbots was typing human or agent as fast as possible, because you don't want to chat with a non-generative AI chatbot. Maybe Tim, how did we get here? What is the evolution, or how do you see that evolution from, well, the shitty chatbots to visual search?
I mean, it took a long way, right? And it actually reminded me of a conversation I had with my dad recently. So my dad is now retired, but he used to work in banking or software engineering in banking. And he told me, "Oh, you're working in AI now. That's great. We talked about AI in the 90s, but we never actually pulled it off because it was only conceptual due to limits in computing resources, which has dramatically changed as of today, right? And AI chatbots, or the rise of chatbots, they were not really AI driven. They were trying to find keywords in your conversation. That's why everybody quickly figured out, just type in human, because it will default to giving me an operator. I don't want to talk to this stupid machine, while talking to ChatGPT doesn't feel like a stupid machine anymore. So yeah, I think AI took a very, very long way from concept to what we can utilize right now and today.
Cool. Isaac, how do you see that, the history of AI and the journey we have taken?
So in the last 30 years, I've been involved a lot in the mining industry and the industrial environment. And in the past, manually doing product data cleansing and enrichment would be quite a laborious process. But with AI coming into play, it's 90% more cost effective, more than 90% faster. To give you an idea, I said maybe one catalog, it takes him a day to do product data cleansing enrichment. We do 30,000 items in a millisecond. It depends on how many H1 servers we fire up. And then the last thing is the accuracy side. AI just allows us just so much more accuracy than human beings making typing errors. So I think that's more my take on how AI improved our lives and the lives of our customers.
If I can ask you, so you say accuracy, right? But do you think that we should? I mean, the AI still makes mistakes, right? In a way, we all know about hallucinations, right? So generative AI creating creating text as it should be, but then the wrong text.
So,
how do you prevent that? Yeah.
Yeah, so what we've done, that's why we've gone the supervised learning environment. So we've trained our large language models on very large data sets of correct data. The gen type or hallucination side is a small part of our solution itself. To give you an example, if there's in the data set M8 bolt and in the customer data there's a M10, then the system would recognize that M10 is the next size. It won't necessarily go and generate the M10 unless you ask it. But it's more specific and it's more direct. So it's not like a chat GPT that is trained. It's a different environment. Chat GPT is very, very good. But in our environment, the amount of hallucinations that gets created is just too much.
Yeah. Max, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think maybe you can say that it first kicked off maybe a few years ago with the first steps which could be used with machine learning in combination with product information management. And this was then first used, for example, to classify products. And then later you could also work, for example, with image recognition. For example, there's also headless tools available. Think about Amazon Recognize, and those were already definitely very helpful tools. To automate, processes, which previously maybe were handled by assistants or staff or product professionals. And that definitely helps, to do product management at scale. And I see there's also a question what the future will bring. So let's not go into that right now. But you see this gradual help that first machine learning provides. But I now think that with 10 months, 11 months, that we now have actual good access for everybody to AI. I think this will accelerate.
Yeah. So, we have seen this explosion of AI tools, right? So we're lifting on that sort of exposure and revolution right now by having this discussion. But you're seeing new AI tools are launched every day. It's still, I think, early days, right?
Sure.
Looking at most of the people around us, the most interaction they have had with machine learning or AI is through CAPTCHAs and training the model by recognizing cats or recognizing bikes, or using machine learning or AI in the tools that they use. How do you see generative AI or basically this new phase of heavy compute based AI being integrated, right? So it's yes, the advanced users are copy pasting from ChatGPT. It is integrated in some toolings. How do you see this currently, and how do you see this develop? Anyone is free to pick it up. Max, how do you see that develop? You have integrated the ChatGPT functionality in CTD PIM.
Yeah, well, I think for us as a vendor, and then in product management, it's it's very interesting, of course. So what we basically created is this assistant, and what I showed you that we can switch to different, say, headless AI engines. We now in this demo used ChatGPT 3.5, and then we switched live to ChatGPT 4. So again, it's very beneficial that you're able to use lots of different sources. Maybe there will also be options in the future to look even further. Maybe there will be AI systems who are specialized, for example, in different verticals or in maybe in different regions. Also, very much providing local flavor to a message, which can be a thing. So yeah, I think the future lays ahead of us. But for us as vendors, it's very good to have lots of options when it comes to AI for using those different engines. Of course, last but not least, we showed now options which can be done while looking at product content, but such as was already shown in this session. Yeah, there's also lots of options which can be done, for example, with product images. For example, stuff like, hey, you having your product images then photographed for a green screen, so surrounding a product with a white background. Now you can choose, hey, I want, for example, this product, then in a nice atmosphere, for example, a beach surrounding, or maybe in a bathroom, or being in a living room, or being in a shopping street. I mean, hey, the world is yours. So it's not only so much product data, but also your product image sets, which also provides lots of opportunities by using AI.
Yeah, and I mean, when we're looking at the sort of product data journey, you are using and applying AI mostly in the enrichment phase, right? So it's onboarding,
Yeah.
enrichment, publication.
It's basically, you, of course, what I already said there from, you can use AI or machine learning for product classification, which definitely helps. You can use AI for product enrichment. So yeah, you can do that for product data, but also for your image sets. But at the same time, for example, you can also for using product relations, some combining products, and then maybe you can work also with data provided from your own circles, maybe from how successful are a set of products. Do we see that these type of products or these brands are then also typically bought together in one purchase by specific clients? Is that happening in a specific region, or is it like a broader thing? So yeah, you can add a lot of data. So not only your data which is provided by AI, but also combine it with your own data for lots of
I mean,
suggestions.
So and Max, you discussed the sort of situation from a vendor perspective,
Yeah.
having access to a lot of tools and integrating those functionalities into your solution is awesome, and switching between them is awesome. Isaac, you are developing one of those vertically focused solutions. How do you see the world currently?
So again, as I said in the beginning, we really focus 100% on the foundational side. And the product information being correct and enriched is the foundation. Thereafter, the tools that gets built on top of that, whether it's a spend analysis, whether it's customer behavior and grouping different items, we supply companies that supply those services, and most of our, call it our partners or consulting partners, are other accounting firms. And they do it also then in an analysis of fraud detection. We actually had quite an interesting case the other day where one of our customers said they find it extremely difficult because their suppliers change the item number and they can't detect where the origin of the product is. And with us doing the comparisons now on attribute level and putting it through their BI and through their systems, it's much easier. So they can take all that duplication and call it falsification out of the whole system. So I would say we foundational, we provide that clean and enriched data through to PIM suppliers and to ERP between, if you do a conversion from one ERP system to another ERP system. Also on the enterprise asset management, it is hugely difficult for those organizations if you've got old plant and you've got new plant, how do you compare things if your product data is not right? So we're on a foundational level. A lot of stuff grows from what we deliver.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ivan's question is one for you as well, maybe Isaac. So he asks, what do you think about using AI to map between different product taxonomies? So taxonomy of your supplier, your own. Yeah.
So we can do that, and again, because we API based, we can actually pop any taxonomy on top of our system, and we've got a customer now in the DIY retail trade that would like on the back end UNSPSC as a classification system, but in the front end GS1. The same with a food manufacturer, their raw materials will be on UNSPSC, but their front end would be on GS1. And if you look at electrical component people, they might have ETIM as their main classification system and UNSPSC as an additional one that they can cover different markets. But you know, there's so many different classification systems. There's more than 24 that you can use, and yes, you can use AI to compare between them, and that's exactly what you want to do. But if your foundational data is not right, you can't do any comparisons.
But is that the end of the syndication tools, really? Because, I mean, I know you're focused on maybe more on the data input side of things. Are all the mapping tools that exist right now, do they need to change their business models with this sudden growth in AI and the improvements?
I think there would be a change. There would definitely be a change with time, but it's not going to happen in one day. You know, also people say to us, okay, so you press a button and everything is right. No, there's still manual intervention. People must never forget that AI still needs human intervention. And like one of our customers also, we give them an 80% scoring rate on the quality of the data that we provided, but they still need to go and do a walk down and verify it. So having the magic bullet, I don't think that exists yet. We just do the heavy lifting with AI.
I mean, your tooling and also Max using PIM, at least ChatGPT, in the product enrichment phase is sort of creating more text, right, and filling in text boxes. Tim, the presentation, the title of your presentation was FU of product data. What do you think? Is this all busy work now? Do we need to stop the whole matching and content creation process and just focus on the last part of the journey, right? The customer journey?
It actually heavily depends on who's consuming this content, right? We heard an example of rewriting text to a specific target audience, let's say for male or female. That makes total sense because if humans are consuming this content, it makes sense for them to understand it. I've recently seen a demo from a startup somewhere in Germany, and they're simplifying legal texts, which is of course tremendously helpful to just allow people to understand what they're looking at and what they're reading. Same goes for product data or product descriptions. What is it actually that I'm looking for? If you're going into, I don't know, the hiking space, there's a level of, I just want to go hiking, to people going absolutely crazy. And I know exactly that because I'm here and my brother is there. So whenever I ask him for advice, I hear 100 million things about materials, about weight, about, I don't know, cutting off your toothbrush to save 2 grams on gear. You have a range of people, right? But also I'm interested, very simple, of do I freeze to death and can I sleep at night? While my brother is interested in other things. So creating different content for different target audiences makes total sense to me. For us, of course, we're in the space of people cannot even describe what they're looking for. So for us, that's why we're not consuming metadata or very little metadata to actually give the products to what people are looking for. I actually made a note to myself regarding mapping. So mapping data from A to B. We were facing a similar problem when we're onboarding customers and consuming their data. It comes in all shapes and forms. So it's usually an engineer on our side sitting down, knowing exactly what to do, knowing exactly where to put things, but it's a manual process. And it's a manual process because we cannot automate it by a simple, let's say, mapping table. Otherwise, this table would grow with each customer. So what startups are doing in a similar situation on mapping data, they introduced a combination of ChatGPT, LangChain for automating requests, plus vector databases to actually create these mappings automatically, and therefore reaching the same goal that Isaac is advertising, just saving time. And it doesn't have to be 100% precise, but if the AI is 90% right or 90% right of the time, you still get a lot out of it. If you, for example, cut out the mapping and just have a human to verify it, you probably save, I don't know, 80% of your day by just verifying AI is right or wrong. Plus, when you do that, you also train your AI or your database that's fed into ChatGPT to be better next time.
And I think that's where the next field comes in, and that's unsupervised learning. You know, as people work in our different systems, the systems get to understand the behavior of the data, and that's when, you know, the final, which is unsupervised learning, takes place. And so I look specifically at spelling. Once you've corrected some spelling errors, it knows that is a spelling, although it might not be normal dictionary words. The same with mapping. Once you've sorted out, and I see Ivan talked about taxonomies and different brands and manufacturers in columns. You know, once you fix that once, the system will pick it up the next time and correct it for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Max, do you want to add?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for sure, if you do this at scale, I mean, AI is definitely a help, to make sure that you enrich your product data. However, you cannot say that you can fully trust that specific data. So it's definitely good, to have this manual check to see what has been generated. Yes, Isaac saying is also right. For sure, it's a self-learning and self-healing algorithm. So yeah, the content tend to be it's getting better and better. However, again, you have up till now you have to perform those manual checks, and we see customers doing that in different ways. When I gave you the demo, I also briefly described there also is something in a PIM system, which is your product flow. And of course, you can have some stage there where you say, okay, I have this check, whether it's all products or that that, hey, in specific categories, there tend to be more errors. Then, of course, you can filter that out, spend some more time on those categories that that tend to be not right. And you also see that customers are saying, yeah, we want to further improve. And what we're basically doing is having like different swim lanes. So we have our swim lane A, where where our most important products are traveling through. And in that swimming lane A, each and every product has to be checked before go live. And then we have swimming lane B, where we do that we check, not every product, but maybe in a way that I was describing, checking the categories which are known, to come up with faults. Maybe we also have swimming lane C, which is for the non-vital products, where you say, okay, for the sense of time to market and also not checking those products each and every one. because maybe we don't have the time for it, or it doesn't make sense because maybe there are parts, and we are not looking for enrichment of important attributes in those part sets, which can go wrong. Yeah, let's travel them, or let them automatically travel to AI, and then push them to life. So working with those swimming lanes in your process also helps, to do this at scale and not having to check each and every product.
Yeah. Based on what I'm seeing, I agree with all of you that we're like using AI to take away the manual labor, but sometimes you need to check depending on what type of content you're generating or what type of matching you're doing. If the model is fully trustworthy and maybe trained on a very specific small task space, then you can fully trust it. If it's more generative or more creative, then you might want to have a human like fine tuning it or checking it or updating some product descriptions, but you take away the grunt work. So instead of having to go into a product, fill in either an Excel or a PIM interface or do all kinds of like metadata mapping basically manually, and then hoping that metadata is also found by the search engine on your website. If you don't have Miros, I think that is sort of the big game changer that at least the current phase of AI is bringing. I'm still very curious how that world looks in 3 years, where we might have LLMs trained very specifically on creating, very specific type of descriptions for a very specific type of product. So maybe Gen Z focused product description writer for sneakers, right? And have basically a catalog of LLMs, of large language models, trained and tailored and fine-tuned specifically to each miniature task. And maybe that is sort of the unique, data that each company now has, because they did all the manual work. They have the copywriters, they have the visual people creating those product experiences, and they can use that to train their own personal AI model, which of course brings me maybe to this future outlook, right? So where will we be in let's start with 3 months maybe, or 12 months, because the world is so rapidly evolving from, a car that could fully drive itself according to Elon 6 years ago and still can do, to the explosion in I would say, multi-agent chained chatbots that can do automatic research and improve their own input and output. Where are we going? Where are we going? Tim?
It's more or less a dystopian outlook, right?
Sure.
And
I love this.
Of course, it doesn't have to be true, but I actually liked one question from the chat. I'm just going to read it out loud. Is anything known if AI in a PIM system can do processes automated? In other words, AI sets itself its own tasks and then completes them by itself. This is essentially where I see sort of a little bit of danger coming in, because looking at ChatGPT, which is a quite powerful tool, you can actually have a long conversation with it. I heard people using it as their own therapist because it's easier for them to talk to a machine than to a human. So you can actually have a very long conversation with ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is actually able to have a conversation with himself. And there are already tools that exist which are utilizing this. One of them is called AutoGPT. AutoGPT is I think it's written in Python. It connects to ChatGPT and it also connects to the internet. So if you want to have a great evening by yourself, go onto YouTube, look for people utilizing AutoGPT. And it even goes so far that AutoGPT is given a goal. you can either give it a goal or tasks, but the most scary thing is actually just giving it a goal. So people used it they gave it a goal saying, hey, AutoGPT, I want a YouTube channel that's generating money. Do it. And then it's running for days and days and days, going on the internet, doing research, coming up with its own conclusions, writing itself a task list. So essentially like a human would do it. And then it starts to, in this case, I think it really created a YouTube channel, went to other providers. And I think at the end they had like lo-fi music listening channel going on there, but there was no human involvement. And this is essentially where the dangerous part starts, where you just leave it alone for days and days to just do whatever. But I mean, there was no real harm because at the end, it created a YouTube channel, right? It didn't came up with, hey, build a factory for insulin shots and make it as cheap as possible. Because who knows what cheap as possible means in this case. So yeah, it's definitely possible. And the whole automation process, I think it needs some governance, yes.
Cool. I'll get back to that, Tim. But first, maybe one of the other speakers, Isaac.
So it's interesting. I see Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Everybody is in Washington at the moment in front of the Senate trying to work out what legislation they're going to put into place. But I hear what you're saying. The challenge still is the cost of server time. If you've got a lot of dollars, you can create that YouTube channel. But, you know, I know, how can I say, on one of the new, I think it's 150 million token large language models, to do training of data there, you know, basically, and it depends on your data set, but you need about 100 or 200 H100 servers and NVIDIA server chips, and that becomes quite expensive. So I think for bad actors that has the money, sure. Will it work out? No. I think it's too early days.
Okay, cool. Still, but can we catch it before it's too late? That's the question. Max?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not a fortune teller to begin with. But, you know, looking at our industry, which is product management, yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of goods on the cards to come. So I think further improvements will be made, and it will definitely help, you know, customers who are working with product data to, for example, reduce costs, reduce time to market. Find new markets, and because you, for example, can easily translate, you can tune your specific product message, not only in writing, so in product description, but also, for example, in creating product images by AI for different target audiences. So yeah, I think lots of gains to be made. However, I think we all have to realize that, yeah, you cannot make AI do this without any control on it. So you definitely, you know, have to have some guidance on it to make sure that your product message and also your brand message, which is then exposed out there, yeah, isn't going the wrong way. So there's a warning in it as well, but I think the options, of course, which are available, yeah, definitely prevail.
Okay, cool. So, and here some of you say that we will be, or we might risk being supplanted by a product description generating AGI that wants to create product descriptions for any kind of product and sacrifices the whole world, maybe the whole galaxy's resources just to create more product data. And some of you say, well, maybe not,
Yeah.
at least not yet.
Again, it really depends on the way that you look at what can be done. I mean, I still see a lot of PIM users each and every day, checking product data or trying to come up with rules in the system to make sure that, for example, empty values on the attributes are then populated. But AI, can take over lots of that sort of activities, where you as a human, for example, can spend your time on creating even better product content than maybe AI is available to do so, because you definitely know your product and you know your brand, and also I think your audience. So I don't think you should look at it as like, oh, this is like, threatening maybe in whole industry. No, I think it's definitely a helpful tool. And if you take the angle to look at it in that way, in that perspective, yeah, I think you can only win.
Okay, cool. We'll get back to those words in 2 years, Max.
Yeah,
I think one of the topics I would like to discuss with you guys as well is the multidimensionality of AI. So basically combining multiple kind of dimensions, but so generative text, generative voice, generative video slash imagery. I think my personal opinion is that there is a lot of untapped potential in the sort of combination of those things, right? So take, for example, a phone conversation that you can have with, I mean, a chatbot is a chatbot, right? So, and you know, currently people know that is maybe not a human that you're talking to, and that might be fine, right? In the case of the therapist, that you're actually happy with sharing your secrets with someone that is not a human. I'm very curious how it works with, for example, if you combine 2 dimensions, so take chat and text and voice, for example, right? So you call, I don't know, an e-commerce store, you call Amazon, because you have some questions about your order being delivered, or how to return a product. And instead of a real human, and instead of a long waiting time, you actually get someone on the line immediately, and that person is able to respond to your questions with a normal human voice, but it's actually a ChatGPT driven or an LLM driven, AI driven, I don't know, bot, a custom agent. Same for the combination, for example, of maybe a generative text and generative imagery, where I don't know, you can create custom art based on custom descriptions generated by AI, right? So you want to decorate a room with a specific type of pictures or images or paintings, and you can have a generative AI create prompts for, I don't know, an art image generator, and that then creates Van Gogh-like pictures in the style that you want for your, I don't know, Airbnb experience room. I don't know. But I think that there is where the multidimensionality is, I think, where the real revolution is. I think we're not yet where we want to be with the sort of capacity of GPUs and the cost effectiveness of them to do it with video, but that will come eventually as well. How do you guys see the multidimensionality being adopted, either in your toolings or across the whole AI space?
Stefan, if I can maybe jump in there. So we are working on in the olden days, you would have help menus. That's going to disappear. That would be replaced by a chatbot and a predictive analytics solution that would predict what you want to ask and where you're having challenges based on working within our system. But as we said about creating false information, if you look at how they're struggling to get the self-drive cars going properly and having a 99%, or let's say 85% more accuracy, the same applies here. So you will always need a human. Anyway, for the foreseeable future. But it will take the heavy lifting out and building in the multi-dimensions that you would speak to your computer and sort of say, what does this data tell me? and that it being analyzed, the data that you put into the whether it's a PIM system or ERP system, that's just around the corner. And I know specifically because from our side we're working on a chat bot or intelligent AI-driven chatbot that would look at the data that you put into the system and give you advice on how best to handle it. The other thing that comes in our industry, having a subject matter expert, whether it's on bearings or bolts or seals or hydraulics or pneumatics, will be taken out. Again, based on the data that we fed into the system. So the system becomes the subject matter expert in multiple disciplines.
Okay. Anyone wants to take over? Multidimensionality, agents as experts?
I mean, the first approaches were already done and are actually quite simple. I mean, one of our product managers was like, Tim, I want to talk to ChatGPT. I was like, good for you. But he essentially got it working in half a day using some Apple macros, sending text to ChatGPT, converted to speech. It's working already. Having sort of this conversation with, let's say, a virtual avatar where the video is generated, audio is generated, it's probably not a matter of is it doable, but what's the cost of it in terms of how many computing resources do we need, and does it feel natural? I mean, the thing why ChatGPT is also so popular is that it's fast. If it would take, let's say, a day to give you an answer, even if the quality of the answer is exactly the same, it wouldn't be where it is right now. The fascinating thing about it is it's answering immediately or starting to give you some generative text. And I think a combination of models started even a little bit earlier than ChatGPT, voice, etc., because the first wave where AI really came into the minds of people were deepfakes, right? Suddenly there were videos or audio from politicians saying things you don't want to hear and which they never said. This was sort of the first wave, which people didn't identify so much as AI is doing that. Of course, people knew it, but it wasn't really in the minds of people. It felt like almost magic. And now it's really, really accessible with ChatGPT having an API, having a huge list of, 1,000 plugins. It becomes more and more accessible to also software engineers, which are then building auto GPT around it to create lo-fi YouTube channels or whatever they're feeling like.
How do you see? Yeah, Max. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you definitely have to experiment because, for example, I'll give you stuff that we encountered. If you generate, for example, via Amazon Recognize all sorts of metadata about an image, you get a lot of information. But that information is also available then, for example, for an AI tool such as ChatGPT. So if maybe hey, you have a product like an iPhone, and in my case, and in my here is black, but maybe there's an image photo. Is it with a lot of a whole landscape on it with lots of colors? Then there and maybe that was also in the inventarization by Amazon Recognize. Yeah, and then that data is also falsely used by AI if you don't give those both tools working together some training. So you definitely have to tune both sources to make sure that the information is generated is actually correct.
Yeah. Input still drives.
Yeah, because then you're getting descriptions like, hey, this rainbow colored or multicolored product. How come it's black? Now it's because Amazon Recognize says, yeah, the casing, for example, is dark gray or slate gray or maybe black. but there's also subcolors involved. And those subcolors involved and then also used by ChatGPT to create a description. Now here you go wrong. So you definitely have to tune. And this is just an example. There's multiple more. So
yeah, there's a lot of risks, right? So shitty data. It still is the sort of, it's still like the basics still hold, right? Garbage in is garbage out. We do have an interesting question from the audience. Maybe Isaac, I'm not sure if you saw it, but I'll...
I saw it. So yes, our solution fits in there between a MDM. Depends on what, if you run a separate ERP, you don't run on the the MDM of the ERP, a separate MDM. To do the data cleansing and enrichment would definitely make a difference. We do find that with some ERPs, the challenge comes in on the amount of attributes that you can add to a product. Now, your MDM isn't blocked by that limitation. So yes, let me just see, to further enrich data and also govern new data onboarding. Yes, you would use the MDM, but from what I understand is the ERP doesn't have sufficient functionality to handle all the attributes. We would then enrich it with the additional attributes and put it into your MDM. Does that answer your question?
Well, it's a bigger question of architectures, right? Of how do you set up the different subsystems and how do you let them integrate and talk to each other. Max, do you have anything to add on ERP first or PIM first, maybe, right? And data cleansing before PIM or data cleansing before?
Yeah, well, of course, it really depends, of course, on your ecosystem. I mean, which is already in place. In most cases that we encounter, you cannot simply, start with a blank canvas and, start from, okay, this would be the ideal solution. Now, you get into examples where you see from that, there's for example, a customer who's then having like maybe 50,000 products, stock keeping units, and traditionally all that information is then onboarded from the vendors, then in ERP. But now they want to scale up maybe to 1 million products, and they want to do that, for example, by saying, we don't want those extra products also in a warehouse because we simply don't have any warehouse space to capture all those products. But we want to sell those products as well. And then you can say, hey, those products are maybe then first introduced in PIM, so classified, onboarded, structured, going through the process to for being enriched, published to the web shop or other channels, and then maybe if that turns into a sale, then you transfer that product also back to ERP. So, for example, that it can also be going through the whole process for the transactional and logistic handlings.
Yeah.
So you cannot say that there's one way to go. It definitely always depends on the ecosystem in place and the specific question which is laying at the table.
I think what we're seeing as well with all the PIM selections is that it's always also an architectural structuring, right? It's always, there's never a green field, right? So it's always, you can't throw everything away and build everything new. Unfortunately, maybe sometimes you can, but it's always also a setup of how does the puzzle fit back together after adding a new PIM or adding a data cleansing tool or upgrading your ERP, or if you're upgrading your ERP, how to add a PIM to make that process more streamlined and efficient. Maybe Isaac, can you take another stab at the final question? So it's basically, can that be a way to kickstart the MDM journey if you previously onboarded data to ERP?
Yes, you can. Remember, we don't reply. In a lot of cases, our customers have invested already huge amounts of money into either ERP or MDM. And in the case where the supplier data is not good enough, That's when we come in. So if you've got a straight feed into your PIM system or into your MDM system of a supplier with very enriched data, that's not where we play. We only play on the dirty data itself, or not sufficient data. In our environment, the suppliers do not necessarily have the full, how can I say, attribute list that they want to share with the customer. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I think to me it does, but we'll see in the chat. Maybe Tim, Miros is on the sort of other end of the spectrum, right? So you've onboarded all your data. He might have enriched it or not, using AI tools or not. Can you also do it the other way around, right? So not enrich anything about the product except for maybe pack shots and images of the product itself, and then letting AI generate all the attributes? How would that work?
We actually did some tests with customers and doing exactly that. But we primarily used it for a very, very quick way on creating landing pages to follow certain fashion trends that Miros is able to identify, but current search systems are lacking tags, etc. Going back to the example of teddy jackets, suddenly you see a spike in search queries for teddy jackets on your site. So you cannot spend days in manually tagging products. You want this tags called teddy jacket to work with your traditional search immediately. So that's also where Miros can help you in identifying certain keywords if you supply them first.
Or Barbie.
I mean, that was a foreseeable one, right?
You couldn't dodge the pink stuff for quite a few weeks. I think we're almost through. Curious what the next trend will be. Maybe you can spin off a business with search trends and identifying those. I'm not seeing any more questions from the chat. I'm not sure if anyone wants to add anything on the discussion we've had here. So any of the speakers wants to add anything, let me know. Otherwise, I would like to thank you guys for being with me and discussing this interesting and transformative topic and showing what it can do and how it is being applied to your current tool sets already. Taking the time to discuss with me how we got here and how we can take it from here, and also discussing that with the audience and answering their questions. I want to thank the audience for taking the time. I know it has been almost 2 hours now, so I think we can all use a break and head on over to our, at least in my case and in my time zone, the evening part of our day. I want to mention the promo offer that we have for each of the partners here that is available. So we have either a free proof of concept or free data cleansing or free demo with your own products for all the partners here available for you if you reach out either to them directly or to me. I think I shared my email address in the chat. You're probably able to find me on LinkedIn as well. Just let me know, and I'll also share the recording with you and everyone if you missed something and you want to rewatch it or reread it, or want to dive a bit deeper into a specific part of the demo that you might have missed because you joined us later. I want to thank you all for your time, and I hope to see you on the next event of PIM Vendors or on our site. And for sure, drop me a line if you want to discuss this topic further. And with that, I want to say goodbye and have a nice evening, afternoon. Bye-bye, guys.